Coco Momo, today is Thanksgiving Day in America, and it's a fairly big holiday for Americans. Christmas, Easter, the 4th of July, New Year's Eve, those and Thanksgiving are the most popular. And the interesting thing about Thanksgiving for Americans is that in 1620, a ship came across the ocean from England to North America, and the people weren't really prepared for living in the New World. In fact, they spent the first winter still on board the ship because they weren't prepared. But strangely, in the springtime, the Indians, who are called Native Americans now, helped them. And that's where you come in, you and your family. You know, after I got out of graduate school, the first thing I did in the late 60s was to go back to kind of my home country, at least my great-grandparents' home country, Scotland. I went to school there and then traveled in Europe. And in the next 50 years, I've traveled a good chunk of the world. You know, I've gone to school overseas, I've taught overseas, I've been a tour guide overseas, I've had tour guides overseas, I've done it by myself. And you know, if you add up all the countries I've been here, 3 or 4 dozen easily. And of all the countries, your country is the one I love the most of all. And a large part of that has to do with the 2 of you and your 3 children. And in many ways, I was a little bit like the Pilgrims in 1620 coming to North America. What did I know about Myanmar? I mean, I knew about the lady. I knew a British colony one time. I knew about General Ronson. But I had never been there. And it was a strange land. It was a place where I wasn't familiar with. Which is probably one of the reasons I love it. You know, and I've done the tourist triangle almost twice now. And there's, you know, and in my 2 trips I've had, probably 8, a total of probably 8 tour guides. But you know, the 2 of you rank at the top of that list. And this is, you know, one of the best days and one of the saddest days while I was in your country a year ago was when you took me to dinner with the rest of the family, through your friends, basically what we call in the United States a pizzeria. And I viewed that as a Thanksgiving dinner. It was a happy Thanksgiving dinner for me, because I had my family. But it was a sad Thanksgiving day or evening, because the next day I'd be gone. And, you know, I've written loads of articles about how much the two of you and your 3 children mean to me. You know, I hadn't even thought about mentioning this, but just before we went to that restaurant, and that was, I mean, I've got these memories come floating back. Well, before I get to the one I was going to talk about, I started thinking about Snow. I'd met Snow and Fatty at their daycare center now 5 years ago, and they were too young to remember me. Sweet, sweet little kids. And you know, when the date of me coming back the second time was a sure date, I'm sure that you and TT must have said who this stranger is going to be. And I was with the family for about a week the second trip, and that was a mistake. I mean, why I wasted the other 2 weeks. Maybe I should just stay with you people, but the next time I will, which is another year from now. But and you know, I've written about this and I've talked about this. I mean, I've told everybody this story, and I don't remember where we were going. This is before we drove to, or no, we didn't drive. Coco drove, but sometime that afternoon, and I don't remember where it was, and I'm sure everybody in the family was there, and we were just walking someplace, and we couldn't have walked 5 feet, and Snow was next to me. She had had the better part of a week with me. Not say a word, didn't say anything. Just walking along, 1001, 1002. Next thing I noticed, her little hand had reached up and held my hand. She didn't stop, didn't say anything, just kept on walking. It's hard to talk about that. She had a way of communicating with me. TT has a different way. Fatty has a different way. But without saying anything, she told me how she felt about me. And I don't know, and I don't know how much time there was between that and then driving to the restaurant. But it was funny, Coco, you were driving, we say in the United States, the person that's on the other side of the driver is riding shotgun, which is about the Wild West, and I'll tell you sometime when I want to waste time. And in between the two of you was what I call the junior mother, Titi, and I was in the back seat with the two girls. And I thought to myself, Snow, if you want to express your love for me by holding my hand without saying anything, without doing anything, it'll be reciprocal. We got in that car, you put the car in gear, and the next thing I did was just reach out without saying anything, exactly the way she did it, and held her hand. There's so many memories. My problem is that I ought to write this down because I'm just going to float around. And just let me deal with the kids first. There were a number of reasons why I made those little cards, or I didn't make them, I wrote the thing out and gave it to a manager at the resort on the river. And she translated it for me, and then she understood about how I felt about your family. And then she made those cards with a little heart on it. And it was signed Popo G. And this is the way Fatty expresses her love. I mean, every time I saw her, she'd be yelling, Popo G, Popo G. I can remember sitting in your living room in your home, and she was Popo-Jing me, and I grabbed a hold of her and tickled her or something. I don't know what the next thing, it was about as quick as Snow grabbing a hold of my hand. She just rolled into my arms and then just looked up at me and did this flutter in her eyes. And she didn't say, it was just like Snow. She didn't say anything. She just looked at me, and I looked at her. And we knew how we felt about each other. And then there's TT. This is again in your house, in the living room. And Momo, you took the video of this, her doing magic tricks with me. And the one with the powder on her finger. I mean, we argued, she and I, about, I want to see the thing again. Oh, no, I can't see it again. I'm going to do it once. Oh, yeah, no, I just need to see it again. We argued about that for 15 minutes. And each time she did that, I said, just one more time. And it was so funny about, no, I won't do it. Okay, I'll do it. Just, that was repeated, I write about it, it'll be repeated 50,000 times, and it was probably only done 4 or 5 times, but you know, and I wanted to say something about TT about, you know, when, I mean, it's, you know, I want you to explain this to me. You know, and I'm repeating myself. I've been a tour guide, and I've had loads of tour guides, not just in Myanmar, in Indochina, or China, or Tibet, but in the Middle East, and Greece, and Turkey. I mean, I've in Europe, I didn't have any because I could speak the language, and or at least translate part of it. But I never, I mean, and I should have written this down. This is just, I can't understand. And, you know, I've said this a million times in my writing. TT is the bridge that brought the two families together. And I've written about how, well, and, you know, and sometime I need to talk to you about this, because I didn't get it when it happened. I mean, I heard what you said, and it didn't register. I mean, I understood what you're saying, but I didn't really get it. You said, and you're apologetic like you are all the time. I have to stop and pick up something. And this is your old house. And you're apologetic. You said, I just had to only just take a couple minutes, comma, but TT, and my daughter's home, her name is TT, and you can meet her. In English, we call that a compound sentence. Two sentences that were put together. Sorry about having to stop, but you can meet my daughter. And I honestly don't know whether you understood what you just said to me. Not that either one of those things are right or wrong. I always told, I mean, wasting 10 minutes to pick up a piece of paper, I could care less. And you also, and the thing that you tied that issue with meeting TT. And I didn't get it. I mean, I forget wasting time. It didn't make any difference to me. And meeting TT, obviously, was something I wanted to do. I mean, and you were the one, and I don't know whether you're conscious of it, but on the first time that you were my tour guide, or my ex's tour guide, I mean, these are the funny things that I remember about you being a tour guide, or funny things about you being a tour guide. You'd be 20 yards ahead, and I'd be taking pictures of little kids in the open air markets. It's like TT when she labeled, you know, Papa Al, and you take him to an open air market, and you'll be there all day. And I don't know whether you're conscious of my tie to young kids. But that obviously was, I mean, those two sentences that were added or put together aren't related to anything. You know, picking up something, and you'll be, you know, my daughter's home. And, you know, I wish I'd written this out so I'd explain it better. But you were apologetic, but you also knew that I loved little kids. And it dawned on me after I came back the second time that you saw something in me, the way I behaved around young kids. I got plenty of pagodas and plenty of buildings, but I have tons of pictures of little kids. And part of it has to do with Dancing with Death and knowing that the little kids are going to be the next generation of leaders. And I don't know how many times I did this, but I mean, did it with everybody. I took a picture of the kid and then showed the kid a picture on the back of the camera. They won't remember me in 5 years from now, or probably most of them don't remember. But they had a moment for 4 or 5 minutes where somebody saw value in them, and that got registered in their head. That somebody saw value in a little kid. Some old guy saw something in a young kid. And that's my drive. This is the day of just before we left your house to go to what I considered my Thanksgiving meal with my family. I had figured out how much money I needed to get home, and I don't remember how much I gave you, but I put it in an envelope and a note and gave it to Titi before we left the house. And I said to Titi, I didn't tell her what was in the thing. She said it was a note to your parents, and it's I just want you to give it to them after I leave. The next day. She did what I asked her. And the driver had picked me up at the hotel. He drove me, I don't know how long. I don't know how long it took to that airport. And I was just... I was sad. The driver pulled off the side of the road, and I thought, we're not even close to the airport. Looked up, and who was there? Coco. With the envelope. And he opened the envelope and let it fall out, the memory stick that I'd forgotten in TT's computer. Put it back in the envelope. Gave me the envelope and said, oh, by the way, Momo has a note in there. And there is that note, along with TT's note. I had to show it to you. I told you where it was, right behind the computer on the wall. And this is King Leonidas, who stopped the Persians from invading Greece for a couple of days to get the navy of the Greeks to beat the Persians. And he was a great warrior. And right above that is Obama. Well, I have the camera moving around. I think you know who the bottom picture is. lady and the lady, the young lady and the older lady that is pictured next that you sent me. And you know, that's a memory that I'll never forget. I was driving to the airport not to be able to see anybody, and I got to see Coco again. There's just a flood of things rushing in my head. I told you that when I left, this most recent time, that I'd be back in 3 or 4 years. It was cut down to 3, and then it was cut down to 2. And you know, this goes back to your note, Momo, about family. If you and Coco were my kids, and your children would be my grandchildren. But it didn't take me long to understand that the kids that your kids go to school with are what we call in English the extended family. Not the nuclear family, you know, the parents and kids, but aunts and uncles and siblings. And I told TT before I left that I can't stand laptops. I can't. I mean, too large screens here, and they're just not something that I can. You know, I need space, and I gave it to her. But I also knew at the time that there's limited. I mean, she can do what she's working on my webpage. She can do that without the internet. But to do any kind of research or do anything on the internet, she needs to have a cell phone near her. Or the internet access is so limited. So I started worrying about those 2 issues. And what about the kids, the other kids that she goes to school with, the 3 girls go to school with? They don't have laptops, and the internet access isn't good. And that got us into the fundraising drive. And I've gotten incorporated, and there's something called, apparently I talked too long on the memory stick of my computer, my camera. Told me I couldn't record anymore. I think that where I was saying, talking about the getting the 1,250 laptops, and internet access, and it's, from what I can figure out, it's going to cost me about $500,000. And and I'm going to go to an organization called GoFundMe, but I can't do that. I mean, I'm incorporated, but I need something called a 501c3, the Internal Revenue, the taxing part of the government, makes me fill out a form that's 20 or 30 pages long. And it's a not-for-profit charity, so it'll take a couple months. I mean, I will get the approval, but it's going to take 20 or several months to get it done. So I'm going to have less than a year to raise 1,200, or for 1,250 laptops, less than a year to raise $500,000. And to be absolutely honest with you, I mean, just look in my eyes, I believe that I can do it, and I'll do it through not-for-profit, or it's a corporation that airs requests for money. You just say, I need X number of dollars, this is why I need it, and they will post it. And people that have money will read these things, and over the next, I hope that I hope it's operational by the 1st of February, which will give me 10 months to get the money, but then I have to buy the computers, and then I have to talk to the internet providers. So I am absolutely convinced that I can do it. And I'm in the process. I told you about my cardiologist by the name of Dr. Marchand, and he was the one that I came back the first time 4 years ago, and I said, why am I so wired? And he said, you've seen the light? That was that first, on the index page of the articles on the right-hand side of critical issues. That's the first one. I came back the second time, and he didn't. The first thing is, did you get to interview on so she? I said, no, and I told him about the family, and he said, let me know when you're going to go back, because I might be free to go back with you. He's going to get a video, a short video, not as long as you're getting, about my taking him up and inviting him back with me. But I'm also going to try, and I don't think I've mentioned this to you in my email, but there's a guy by the name of Jacob Soboroff, and there are a number of news stations, television stations, NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, and these are just corporations that have newscasts, and he's a reporter for that, Jacob Soboroff, for NBC. He's actually younger than the two of you, and he was down on the American border with Mexico when Trump was, this was 6 months ago, and the refugees were coming in, and he was caring, and it really rattled him, and so I'll send him a video, and I send it to his webpage. I don't know if he's seen it yet, but he will hear about my wanting him to come back with me and a camera crew. That would be a great news thing for NBC, to see kids, 1,200 kids with laptops to use in school. And maybe you can tape my interview with the lady. But he would certainly, I guarantee you, he would certainly love to meet my family there. The other person that it's been in articles. There's a singer, and he was born in England, but he's Scottish, and his name is Rod Stewart. He is 2 years younger than me, and he was the one that sang "Forever Young." And it was a video. I mean, I've written about this. I mean, I thought it was a love song between two teenage kids who were in love with each other, and for some reason one of them left, and the other one said, you know, "I'll always love you. You're a really nice person." And that I always thought was about the song, and I watched the video, which is the official video that the record company put out for that record. And it wasn't that. It wasn't about two young lovers. It was about some old guy and a young kid. And I thought, holy moly. There's no difference between that and Titi and me, or Snow and me, or Fatty and me. It is this older person caring about three younger, or in the video it was one kid, but for me it's three. But it's the same story. And I can't find out what Rod Stewart's email address is, but I know he's going to be in Las Vegas in a couple days. And I guarantee you that I'm going to get a request to him. I mean, I've already done the video, and I'll simply call the place where he's entertaining and have them give him the link. I think he'll go. So, and you know, Momo, you got that book by Chris Matthews called, I think it's just called Bobby. And Bobby Kennedy paraphrased something that George Bernard Shaw said about, in a play that he wrote, about some men see things as they are and say, why I dream dreams that never were, and say, why not? That has been on all my emails for years. I don't know when they allowed you to put the signature. The signature is really not, it's a bad word to use for it, but you can use anything. You can put your address at the end of it, and you can also put quotes. And I've had that quote as soon as they allowed you to do that. I am a dreamer, but if you don't dream, you're not going to get any place. And one of the things about Dancing with Death teaches you is your clock is ticking. And if you don't do something, someday it'll be too late to do anything. And I am a dreamer. And so this is going to go on forever, and I need to end it. You have other things to do than listen to this long. In many ways, your family treated me like the Native Americans treated the people that came over on the Mayflower. There are other guides in your country on my 2 trips. There have been a number of guides in Indochina and in Tibet and in China proper, in the Middle East. I mean, there are loads of guides that I've had, but none of them have changed me the way you two and your 3 children have. we are family. And it is I mean, I'll tell you, I can't sit down in front of my computer and turn my computer on without reading your note, Momo, and TT's note. I have pictures all over the walls about pictures of places I've been and of all the places. I mean, and there, of all the places I've ever been I'd like to go back to Scotland again. I'd like to go to every place I've been again. But at 75, I don't think I'm going to have the opportunity to go to all those places again. And besides that, my family's not there, so why go? I felt like the Pilgrims felt in 1621 when the Native Americans helped them, and you've helped me. And that bonding, it started with TT. Linked our two families together. So I appreciate your, and this goes, I'm going to cut this short. I mean, I can't keep on talking. I will, but I don't want to. Randy Posh, who did the last lecture, who was dying of pancreatic cancer, and 6 to 9 months after he gave that last lecture, if you go to Critical Issues and look down, you can see Randy Posh. Watch that video. You can listen to it, but that guy was more alive than anybody in the audience. There are a couple thousand people there, and he gave that last lecture more alive than anybody in that audience, and 6, 8 months later, he was dead. And there are a couple of things that once I realized that I'd done the dance, once I watched that video, I thought, and one of the things he said is, make sure you thank people for what they have done for you. I mean, small things and big things, it doesn't make any difference. But make sure you thank them, because someday you won't be around to thank them. And that will be a day too late to thank them. So tell TT and Snow and Fatty first that I love them. I absolutely do. I'm telling you that, and you know that. But tell them that a large chunk of who I am is tied to them. Anybody in the neighborhood that knows me, everybody in the neighborhood knows Ginger. People who I don't know Ginger by name. But the people who know me are always asking about how my family is. People, I could just go on and on. But as Americans today are thankful for all the things that they have gotten and received, and care and love, and that's part of me. But December 30th is also my second Thanksgiving Day. And that's Thanksgiving Day was when you took me to that restaurant that your friends owned. And I guarantee you, in a year and a month from now, we're going to be having Thanksgiving dinner there also. So, thank you for your time listening to me. I mean, but it's critically important for me to express. I don't know why. I mean, you certainly know it. But it's kind of an ethical issue for me that you've given me so much emotionally that I can't function without making sure that you know. And I mean, I know that doesn't make sense because you know, I know that you know, and you know, TT and Fatty and Snow could do it in quiet ways. I just had to babble on and babble on and babble on. But we'll have Thanksgiving Day together on the 30th of December next year. So, in the meantime, you take care and say hello to my kids for me. And remember, I love you all.